Welcome to this week's Tech Show.
Yeah, this week we've got fresh electronic shifting and we've got a shoe brand with a rebrand.
Yeah, we have. Oh. We've also got some purple brakes, some new tools, and much, much more. Well, thanks, Martyn. Thanks for joining us on the Tech Show. It's very
Pleasure.
good to have your honorary
It's a good
presence
week.
here.
It's a good week. Nuke Proof.
Oh, yeah.
Just got bought. It's back.
It is back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs and all the details yet. I don't think anyone does.
Bought by the Belgian cycling factory. Apparently, they're one of the most influential manufacturers in Europe. And they brought the brand. They're going to bring it back strong. They brought some of the old team on, so they keep some of the Nuke Proof DNA. It's great news.
That is really exciting. I mean, how it sort of goes from that initial vision to bikes in shops and how we can get bikes will be very interesting because it was such a strong brand.
Yeah, apparently you're going to go into the US and it's going to be great.
I have heard that before.
Come on. I like seeing brands come back rather than drop away. So.
Yeah, no, that's valid. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a topic here because it's something I keep hearing at the trailhead, and it's this kind of trailside sort of comment that, well, reviewers are ruining bikes. And it sounds, I mean, I'll explain it. I think it's because people think that reviewers get really nice bikes and then they kind of forget about normal bikes and they get sort of like, I guess, like wrapped in cotton wool of thinking that's what mountain bikes are. And well, I don't think it's true.
Oh, well, go on, convince me, because I was sort of going along with you.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
Okay, my logic is because I did it for a little bit. I wasn't very good. I didn't ever get up to like bike review level.
Problem.
Well, no, but this is where I've got the experience, is because I worked on a little magazine.
Yeah.
It wasn't the big, show mag. It was the little one. So we didn't get all the fancy stuff. We didn't get lots of big press junkets or anything like that. And also there was like this close group of freelancers and some kind of in-house reviewers as well. And they kind of managed it all. And that's how the reviews came in, that's how the products came in, and that's how they got managed.
Been some helicopter trips and some free barbecues from the brands.
Yeah, but I remember one instant where there were helicopter rides. It's the one time I've been in a helicopter, I did scream like a girl. Separate story for another time. It was very scary if you've not been in one before.
I have, but not for good reasons.
Orcs. I was just really excited. I was like, great, I'll be able to do a review on these products after I've been in the helicopter ride. And well, the team on the magazine were like, well, no, because you're going to be biased, aren't you?
Oh, they stopped you. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Good.
I mean, okay, there was like there were a couple of reviewers that had, we can say, bling blinkers. So they would, they only have a certain level of bike. Yeah. But in general, I think it was in a good space. So I don't think the reviewers were bad much. I mean, I guess there is an experience of, it wasn't reviewers, but some of the kind of like people on some of the magazines who did long-term reviews. Yeah. They would get bikes to obviously long-term review. And I remember one of them being kind of, he'd heard that he needs the widest bars. Even though he wasn't the tallest of people, I'm not tall either, but he was very much like, got to have wide bars, having a bit of a whinge. The main reviewer guy was like, no, that's your bike, that's what you'll ride. And he was a bit sort of like toy trying to pound, like, he's found out my enough. And it was a bit like, well, you can just change them as part of the review. So I don't think any of that is the issue. And this is where it gets a bit personal.
I'm worried where this is going.
Yeah,
and this is where... to look at me now.
I've had, unfortunately, I think you're to blame. For those that you don't know, because you might just think Martyn's a fantastic legend, personality, and Dirt Shed Show person. But you were a pro rider.
Actually, is all I am.
No, you're not. You're much more than that.
That was actually me right there in a nutshell.
No, much more. You were one of these pro riders, and that's who I'm going to angle the blame at.
A while back I was. I actually was really lucky. I was on one of the biggest race teams of the 90s.
Yeah.
I will, just to be like, full disclosure, I wasn't a racer on that team. I had the easy job of being the trials rider, the entertainment.
Okay.
The clown.
And in a way, that makes this conversation slightly less awkward. So that's good for you.
Yeah.
There we go.
So go on, make your point. What did us pro riders do wrong?
I think for me, it's kind of, I had that epiphany ride on a new hardtail, and it was nice because it had nice geometry in terms of it had a slacker head angle, even though it was a race bike. And it kind of made me realise that, well, we've had those head angles for a while on bikes.
Oh, yeah.
But we haven't had them because I think that cross-country racers get listened to a little bit too much when brands are defining their XC bikes, or lots of bikes actually.
And do you think that's because some of them back in the day would have come from road and they wouldn't necessarily have understood head angles like, as mountain biking has developed? But at the end of the day,
that is a great question in itself.
At the end of the day, we've been on a geometry journey forever and kind of are still on it.
Agreed. I feel like it's kind of settled a little bit. I guess it's...
Until the next Chris Porter comes along and you'll be like, wait, what?
Perhaps. For those of you who don't know, Chris Porter, actually, he was out of magazines. We can blame him. He was a reviewer.
We're back to the reviewers again.
I think reviewers did a good job in some ways. Like Steve Jones was quite good at asking for better geometry, but brands were... Maybe it's not the pro riders.
There's definitely good reviewers out there, for sure. There's been some legendary reviewers out there, the Steve Warlands of the world, who are just like, it was their passion and they wanted to...
Yeah.
That's what they did. Fantastic. I think with the pro riders, I had the experience with being on that team of watching how the racers, the downhill racers and the cross-country riders interacted with the engineers at the factory. And this is Cannondale I'm talking about, but I'm presuming it was probably a pretty similar situation in the other brands, is that there was a lot of feedback from the riders and also pushback from the engineers as to why they were doing things.
Okay.
So there was a dialogue going on, and the aim was always to make a faster bike. I think you could see that more on the downhill side because there's a lot more going on and they had to understand a lot more. I would say the downhill riders at that time certainly were more knowledgeable about how the bike worked.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas a lot of, and it's probably not the case now, but back then in the 90s it was, and the cross-country riders were very focused about the machine that was powering the bike. So my experience was seeing a really great dialogue back and forth to make the best thing, and generally if they make the best thing, that's the racer's job. We get to ride the best thing that comes out in the shops because of them. So I would say we are not the problem.
Right, okay.
Got that well, didn't it?
I'm not. No, that's great because it is a very good counterpoint. Because I think I'd only thought about my experience of chatting to cross-country racers. I mean, I chatted to downhillers too, and it felt like the downhill bikes we've progressed, but it's like the kind of the cross-country side of mountain biking, which, lots of people aren't cross-country racing, but even on a trail bike, we had this resistance to getting the slacker and slacker head angle. But now we're, like the Rallon, the Occam, the Spectral, all of those bikes have got really modern geometry. So, I think my argument's just fallen down a cliff face now.
The other thing I would say, though, especially when it comes to racers, is there are racers today who don't care. They just know they're fast, and they will get on the bike that the engineers say is the good one, the right one, and they will ride it fast. So there are, I'm not going to say any names, but there are riders who do that too.
Yeah, and there was some kind of conversations of a similar topic. I chatted to someone recently who's kind of like a race technical lead. He will remain nameless, but it was really interesting to chat to about handlebars. So you may have seen the video.
Mysterious, aren't we?
I don't want to kind of like sort of chuck him under the bus. But he was saying that there was some resistance from cross-country races of the slackness of short stems of wider bars, but then they've had a kind of evolution of kind of like the cross-country tracks have turned to proper
massively changed. Yeah, massive.
So maybe that whole argument of reviewers ruining bikes, no, it was kind of XC tracks were rubbish. That's what ruined it. So maybe we're saying that racing is important again. Oh, goodness.
What do you think? I'd like to know.
Yeah, please do.
Reviewers, it's quite an interesting question though. Maybe we should stick with that. Are reviewers part of the problem? Ooh. Just answer that. Answer that, because that's quite fun in the comments.
Now we've got news.
Come on then.
It's electrifying. So, SRAM, pushing electronic. Shimano, their Di2 has been around for a while, but we haven't seen kind of new stuff for a while. I mean, it's ripe for an upgrade if you're going to be really picky. But there's more electronic in the shifting game. There is wheel top.
That's new to me. I don't know wheel top.
No, I saw them at Eurobike, but I've got to be honest, I'd not heard of them at all. But they've been around since 1955, and this is their newest wireless drivetrain. It is the EDS OX mountain bike group set, OX 2.0. That's why I had to look, because it's quite namey. But it packs in loads of tech. It's quite good.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It's got a multiple cage lengths. Well, it's two cage lengths.
Okay, yeah.
Customizable 3 to 14 speed setups. 2 different cages, like I said. Medium for 10 to 46 tooth cassettes, and a long cage for 10 to 52 tooth cassettes.
Got you. Yeah.
And it's adjustable via the app. Explain the 3 to 14 speed setup. What is that?
So I had to Google this because I was a bit kind of like, I don't know on making a 3-speed. And I guess there's a few brands that are doing 14. So I was like, is it that specific? It's just 2 speeds, effectively 3 and a... No, you can go from as low as 3 cogs on the back. So if you've got like a customised, well, it would be this rear mech, but a customised rear cassette for just 3 cogs.
Right.
All the way up to having 14 cogs on the back. Nice. You can change it to do that via, obviously it's electronic, via the app.
Yeah.
It's clever.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Neat.
The bar remote is nice and small as well, and you can kind of custom configure what the buttons do. It's waterproof as well. And the wirelessness isn't just Bluetooth, it also speaks ANT. Which is useful if you've got a Garmin. So you can have all your kind of like shift data all of that stuff
I knew
on
that
your Garmin.
That tweaked in my head.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like some other GPS units also use the ANT or ANT+, but that's what this does. There's lots of shifter options in terms of how it works and all that jazz. There's firmware updates, battery monitoring, and all of those things via the app. And yeah, I think for me, my biggest fear of when I first used an electronic shifter was running out of battery, and I'd be like, oh god, I'm trapped in single speed, which is bad. Wheeltop, unsurprisingly, have thought about this, and they reckon that one charge on this system can deliver 20,000 shifts.
That's a lot of shifts.
Yeah.
Even for someone who rides as much as me, I do about 4 shifts a week.
No, you do more shifts than that.
Not many.
So yeah, Wheeltop reckon that is, what do they say? I think they say it's like 3 to 4 months of use.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's bonkers, isn't it?
It's good to know there's more wireless options out there.
Yeah,
I did not know about Wheeltop. It's good.
And yeah, so pricing starts, which is for the mech and the shifter, from $369, which is pretty competitive. So there's a SRAM GX Eagle axis, so it's still the one that uses a normal derailleur hanger and shifter pod. So again, it's similar, but that's, again, it's 12 speed only, but that's sort of listed at $649. So this is considerably cheaper. Okay, I've seen the SRAM one because it is the older type rear mech, effectively a bit cheaper online, but still this is very competitive. So if you're really keen on electronics, well, it could be a really good shift option. When I did that look back on the Klein bikes, and we had a kind of like a retrospective on why Klein was really important, and we had lots of the frames and lots of old photos, I kept seeing Siddy shoes, because it was like the go-to shoe back then. And I was like, are they still around?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
they're
they
still
are.
around.
Yeah, they are.
Definitely.
They've got,
The Dominator, they were pretty cool back in the 80s. The Dominator was the go-to XC shoe.
Yeah.
But it's fair to say they are still around, but they've stayed very, what's the word, Euro. Bit Euro, bit narrow, bit road, maybe.
Road with the
they've
knobbly
still
sole.
got that city look. Yeah,
agreed. Yeah. I think that's completely valid, and that's why I was surprised when they've got a new fit and they've got this new shoe, which for me looks sort of retro in a good way. It's got a Velcro in their version of a boa, and yeah, it's got this new Millennium fit, which Siddy says will help with comfort and stability. I think basically it worked with more people's feet, as in it's more of a foot shape than the older one, which was quite narrow.
Yeah.
Fitted my feet, lovely. I liked a narrow foot. So yeah, these Thesis shoes echo those old school sort of legendary Dominators. But yeah, pricing starts from $299. So jazzy feet.
Isn't it funny that calling something Millennium sounds old now?
Oh goodness, I've not even thought
so
about
maybe
that.
they haven't really caught up.
No, maybe they're still just a bit...
Try a pair on, let us know.
Yeah.
Next up, Haze Dominion A4 Purple Edition brakes.
Nice.
Yeah, reaching back in our minds to the 1990s pro-only purple Dominions. Yeah. Downhill brakes. They were pro-only then, but apparently now we can all go purple.
Yeah, because I think they re-released the Dominion, this new Dominion, with a purple lever and a purple caliper for pros, but then they kind of like it drifted, and there are a few more people than just pros getting them. Yeah, including like Rich. I think Blake might have had a purple set as well.
I'm sure I've seen them in the building, but apparently these are limited numbers for you and me.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, definitely a cool look.
Very cool, and I think it's good to just sort of like refresh why the Dominion is a world champ winning brake and why it's sort of different to a lot of the brakes out on the market. So okay, it's a hydraulic brake, uses dot fluid, it is powerful. It's got tool-free adjustment, that's kind of nice. Flip-flop orientation, so you can use one lever on either side.
Which is great.
Yeah, it is.
That is brilliant.
We've done a whole video on which is the right brake for the front. Obviously, it's the right brake for the front. It's got the really clever kingpin, the way they hold the pads in, so that's kind of really nice. Okay, it's got a spring in there, so it's not a Magura with magnets or anything. It's got, they call it crosshair, but effectively on the post mount, opposed to just having the 2 screws and you having to just spend ages eyeballing it, there's 2 little, I think it's 2mm, could be 3mm, Allen keys on the side where you can actually push it against the kind of retention bolt and make sure that it's actually all aligned. Oh, nice. It's really nice. Yeah, it's a really good feature. And I've literally done a video on it, the dual port bleed system. I mean, I don't think lots of brakes now are so good, you don't really have to bleed them that often, and Haze especially with dot fluid, they're very good. But if you want to, if you're really keen, you want to get that superb lever feel, just like G has on his bike, yeah, they're there for you to have. $249.99 per brake.
Per brake?
Yeah, per brake. But that's, I'm really not very good at maths, but what's that? I guess it's a quarter of the brakes that we had on last week's show, I think it is.
Oh, so, okay, so yeah, it's relative.
Yeah. In the workshop, you might have to use a torque wrench, and we'll segue into this wonderful tool.
Oh, I've seen this. I love Topeak torque wrenches and all their littles. I've got one in the back of my wheelchair.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
So I think I saw this, and we might have put it on socials. It's a torque wrench, and obviously we torque wrenches are important because it shows how tight something is, and that's really important with especially handlebars, sometimes with brake levers. If you're using carbon bars, it's an essential, not just a nice to have. And lots of them use a kind of small sort of indicator to show where you're getting to. And if you're like me, slightly optically challenged, sometimes that's in poor light, it's hard to see. Not a problem with the Topeak E torque bar. Yeah. Because it lights up, it's got LEDs. So it's brilliant. Each LED is kind of like 1 Newton meter, so yeah, it's brilliant. Lots of very nice details because it's got a similar packet to some of the other torque bars that are available from Topeak. Yeah, pricing starts for this wonderful LED torque wrench from 150 quid. Which I think it's pretty good, actually.
Very nice. Do you know what I always think when you use a torque wrench? First time you use a torque wrench is you go, oh, I've over-tightened every bolt I've ever tightened to this point in my life.
Yeah. Talking about bars.
I'm doing well with these links.
Great. Perfect link. We talk about Sklar bikes a little bit because they've got some nice hardtails which just look nice. They look right. Yeah, well, they've got a bar, the PBJ bar, which I've always got to read for. It's Performance Basket Jammer, not peanut butter and jam. Just to be very clear on that. So it's a fun bar designed to kind of work with, if you're bike packing with kind of like a rack out front. I think you could stick it on a regular hardtail or a full suspension. It's pretty wide. And the idea is that it's got rise, but it sort of goes forward a bit because it's also got lots of sort of sweep on the back. Yeah. So it could be really good actually if you're converting an old mountain bike that's really steep and really low at the front, and you want something that's a bit more fun and just
relaxing.
Exactly. Yeah. So pricing from 95 quid. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. Next up, we've got New House Bikes, the Hummingbird.
Yes. This sort of fits. It's not a Sklar, but it's not dissimilar. So it's a lovely, made in Taiwan, but made from kind of a group of people that made lots of custom bikes. And it wasn't on my radar at all. And then I kind of like saw it. I think I saw it on their internet. And effectively, they've designed it to be simple, reliable, fun, and it's a steel hardtail because they really like how the custom ones ride. So kind of they've spent a lot of time getting I had to read because this is pretty nuts, a quad butted, there you go, tubing. So it's their own tubing, which they optimise for all the individual sizes. It comes in 5 sizes. Geometry's pretty good as well. So 66-degree head angle on the hardtail, 74.5 seat angle, which is pretty good, not crazy steep. Threaded bottom bracket, 2 bottle sizes in all the sizes, external cable routing, hopefully nice things. Clearance for 29 by 2.6, so good for everywhere, and pricing starts from $1,199 US. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, but is that the frame only? The one?
Sorry, that is frame only. Yeah, that is.
$3,599 for a complete
bike. Yeah. It's a bit spendier.
Quiz time. Right, last week you chatted with Danny Hart.
Yeah, I did.
Which instigated this question. We
Yeah.
chatted with legend Danny Hart. Which bikes did Danny race on to win his 2 senior titles? Oh, that's...
Yeah, I was sneaky because previous week we'd had like 50 people get it right for a quiz. So I was like...
So, ready for the answers? Here they are. Of course, it was Giant in 2011, that incredible run, and on Mondraker in 2016.
Yeah.
Here's your winners. Well done on screen.
Yeah, only 3,
Congratulations.
which I'm quite pleased about.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, you like giving them a good old test.
I think so. I thought I'd really test them with a Klein question, but then like 50 people got it right.
I've given you a great question for this week.
Yeah,
It's harder than it seems.
It is. This is Martyn's question. So please tell us the original lineup for the 1994 Volvo Cannondale team.
Yeah, who was on it? And there's a couple. You've got to know your stuff to get this.
Yeah, this is a real tough quiz.
Yeah, I reckon if you get one right answer, I'll be surprised.
Oh, there'll be more than one. Oh,
not all of them. No,
that's true.
It's hard.
And you're not allowed to
Good
take
luck.
part, so yeah.
Hint, I wasn't on it. Don't get caught out with the booby prize right at the start.
Yeah, get your quiz answers in now. Now, it's my favourite part of the show. I've thought about it. I ummed and ahed for quite a few episodes, but it is definitely my favourite bit, which is the comments. And we've got some great comments from last week's tech show where I saw the hottest tech at the UK's Carr show.
Oh, so jealous you went to Carr show.
I know, you missed the carpets, didn't you?
Oh, well, actually, yeah, that is a downside. It's all soft carpets.
Yeah. So I'll kick us off. This may or may not be true, so I've got no idea what this comment is saying, but this is from Congra D&B. Maybe drum and bass? Anyway, we'll go with it. Haha, there's so much embargo stuff this year. I was hoping there might be some more things in the video that I'd missed. However, some really cool tech coming this year. Can't make any comment on that at all.
No,
it's good. Could be,
to know.
Might not be.
It's good to know there's some inside knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Right, okay, Bridged 13B says, you would never suspect Danny to be such a madman on a bike from talking to him. And then says the answers to the quiz. Yeah, it's true, actually. Danny Hart he doesn't scream raging downhiller when you chat to him because he's just... I tell you what he is when you meet him, and I've chatted to him quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
He is a genuine scholar and fan of the sport. He loves it, and he knows everything.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my God, he knows the details and history so much. He loves it.
Yeah. No, I think it is really fun to meet. Well, I think G, very different character to Danny, but he's not, I don't know, he's like a wild beast.
G absolutely looks like it, though. Doesn't he? Because he's like chiseled. He's like a muscle with eyes.
Yeah.
That's how I always describe him. But he chats like Danny as well. So you don't see the aggression in their talk.
You could think they're chatting about the accounts or something like that. Then they are hucking off stuff. 45 gram 45. Are you sure you're a mechanic? Those Magora are hydraulic and so use hoses, not cables. Yeah, you're right, Graham. I got it completely wrong.
Oh, Graham,
it's been a long day. So
Graham, you did it.
No, Graham, you're right.
You poked the bear.
No, it's very good.
And our next one, I want this next one.
Okay.
It's from Jeff Chef 420. The wig could second as a mic filter.
The wig? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's not a wig.
It's not a wig.
Just saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing to say is don't forget Ask GMBN Tech, where you get to ask us your tech question. So if you've got a burning desire to get a really nerdy question or a not that nerdy question, last week we talked about tyres and how a faster rolling profile will be more efficient and faster rolling. So yeah, if you've got a wonderful burning question about tech, then use the hashtag AskGMBNTech and we'll answer it. Very good.
You sure you're a mechanic?
What are we looking forward to this next week?
I'd love a video on bleeding brakes. That's one for you in the future.
We've already got it. We've got Magora, we've got Haze, we've got Shimano, we've got SRAM.
Well, I wish I'd watched the Magura one.
Well, you should have. It's really good. They bleed really nicely. They're really easy to bleed.
I can tell you. They do not. They do not. Anyway, we have got a headset explainer coming.
Oh, good.
So everything you need to know about headsets, and there is a lot to know, actually. So got that coming up.
Then we've got a bit of a debate.
Oh,
Yep.
Is it a bit about like old analog digital debate?
I've described it as mechanical versus electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not what you think. It's not e-bike versus MTB. It's not EMTB versus MTB. It is just drivetrain. Or should that be transmission?
Oh.
It's very selective. It's just one thing. Anyway, if you've seen something on the show today that sparked your interest and you want to know more, well, join us in the comments below. And if there's something that you really hated, obviously let us know as well. If it's my wig or sort of Martyn talking tech, then just come at us and we'll happily have a chat in the comments.
Oh God, I'm dreading seeing the comments.